Hey guys, Fazzy back here. It is time for the first upload on the channel of 2025. Before we get into it, just wanted to say Happy New Year's, however you guys celebrated. Hope you had a great time. But in today's video, we're going to be seeing what would happen if the NHL Playoffs started here on New Year's Day. Stats are taken as of January 1st here. I will pop those up on screen. But with that being said, let's go jump into the simulation, see who EA thinks would win the Stanley Cup. Alright, so let's begin round number 1, the best of 16. So I'm curious, who do you guys think would win of these 16 teams currently above the playoff line? I did this video back on Thanksgiving, and I think for the most part, most of the teams are similar. I know a team like the Senators now does end up making it. I don't know if the Canucks were above the playoff line at that point. Currently they are just below a wildcard spot, at least of time of recording. But I'm pretty sure for the most part, a lot of these teams did stay in the playoff race from the first time I did this video. I think it's just more or less the matchups that would have changed in the past month, month and a half, 2 months, whatever it has now been. Alright, so going back to the sim here. Only team up currently 3-0 is the Winnipeg Jets. And actually now the Toronto Maple Leafs do go up 3-0 as well. We'll have to see if either of those teams can finish out their series early and end with a sweep. Starting out with the Jets and the Flames. And the Winnipeg Jets, the first team through here in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I have a feeling we'll see quite a few more eliminations here. Once we get through one more game, the Bolts do end up surviving elimination there, pushing their series to at least 5 games. So only one sweep here in the first round, that being the Jets over the Flames. The Vegas Golden Knights are the second team through to the second round here after beating the Stars. The Leafs and the Lightning, the Leafs do advance in 5 games. Continuing on, the Minnesota Wild beat the Avalanche. Can the Devils finish off the Hurricanes here in 5 games? They will not. Can the Panthers finish off the Bruins here? They will. Okay, so we have 3 series left, starting out with the Capitals and the Sens. That one is going to be going to game number 7. Oilers and Kings up next. That one's also going to game number 7. And Canes and Devils, another game number 7. Okay, so we have 3. First off, the Senators end up beating the Capitals. That's a bit of an upset for sure. The Oilers end up beating the Kings. McDavid moves on. And the Carolina Hurricanes beat the New Jersey Devils in the first round. So we have the Jets Wild, Knights Oilers, Canes Sens, and Leafs Panthers in the second round. Alright, so we're down to the round of 8. Minnesota Wild take a 1-0 lead over the Jets. The Vegas Golden Knights go up over the Oilers. Hurricanes go up over the Senators, and the Florida Panthers end up going over the Leafs. Game number 2. Jets will even up the series and tie it at 2. Same with the Oilers. The Carolina Hurricanes and Senators tie their series as well. Only team up 2-0 is the Florida Panthers. Game number 3, Jets take that one. Knights also go up 2 games to 1, and the Senators going up 2 games to 1. Can the Leafs answer? And they will. So that was a very needed game number 3 win by the Leafs to avoid going 3-0 down to the Panthers. Alright, so we have a bunch of series here tied at 2. And actually all the series now tied at 2. So best of 3 across the board. Let's see what will happen here in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Alright, so now it is all elimination. Will we see any? Jets and Wild going to 7. Oilers and Knights also going to 7. Canes and Senators also going to 7. And Leafs and Panthers. The Leafs will close it out. Only team through after going down 2-0 early in the series. Minnesota Wild will end up advancing past the Jets. Oilers do beat the Golden Knights. And final game here, the Carolina Hurricanes do beat the Ottawa Senators. Alright, so that leaves us with a conference finals of the Minnesota Wild versus the Edmonton Oilers, and the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Carolina Hurricanes. So interesting mix of these final 4 teams in the conference finals. Edmonton Oilers go up early, followed by the Carolina Hurricanes also going up in their series. Minnesota Wild will tie it at 1, followed by the Leafs also tying it at 1. So 1-1 across the board. Wild go up 2 games to 1, followed by the Carolina Hurricanes going up 2 games to 1. 3-1 Wild now. Can the Canes make it the same? And they will. Both American teams here. So potential eliminations, the Oilers will survive there. Can the Leafs do the same? They will. Wild, once again, another shot to close out the series. It's going to 7. Can the Leafs do the same? We have 2 Game 7s in the conference final. First off, Oilers and Wild. Minnesota Wild. McDavid not going to another finals. And in the East, the Toronto Maple Leafs will advance. So we have a Stanley Cup final of the Minnesota Wild taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Alright, so since we are in the finals, we will go through this a little bit slower. Again, just going to simulate all these games. Just going to go period by period. First period here, game number 1, 4-0 Maple Leafs. Wow, so the Leafs come out swinging here in game 1. After 2, it is 5-1. And in the third, the Leafs will take it by a score of 5-2. So very, very convincing win here in game number 1. Let's see if the Wild have an answer in game number 2. Did not mean to hit play there. Let's go back and let's simulate this game. Okay, Leafs Wild, game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals. First period, 1-0. Max Domi opens the scoring. Rossi will tie it up. And in the third, the Wild do take it. Lauko on Stollers. Alright, so 1-1 here in the series after 2 games. Let's see if any team can take the advantage here in game number 3. First period here, Leafs Wild, 1-1. Kaprizov and Nyes. Second period, 3-1 Toronto, Domi and Holmberg. In the third, the Wild will add a goal, but it will not be enough. 3-2 win to put the Leafs up 3-2. Let's see if they can make it 3-1 here, or if once again it will be tied up at 2. First period, 1-0 Minnesota, Kirill Kaprizov. Second period, still 1-0. In the third, it's a 1-0 shutout from, I'm guessing, Philip Gustafsson. Okay, so it is a best of 3. Come on. Who is going to take this? First period here, 1-1. Ekman Larson and Boldy. Second period here, 2-2. McMahon and Kaprizov. Who's going to be the hero here in 3? 3-3 Lorenz and Kaprizov. And in overtime, Ryan Hartman is the hero here for the Wild, as the Toronto Maple Leafs are on the brink of elimination. Game number 6. This could be it. Let's find out what will happen. First period here in Minnesota, 3-0 Leafs, Nyes, Matthews, and Marner. Huge first for the Leafs. Matthews adds another. And in the third, 5-0 win for the Leafs. So we have game number 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals here. Let's see who's going to take it, who's going to lead their team to a cup. First period, Tavares and Rossi, 1-1. Second period, 2-1 Lauko again. Let's just resume the simulation here. And Jacob Middleton increases the Wild's lead from 3-1. Leafs need an answer here, and William Nylander does just that. 3-2 here. Wild go to the power play, and Brock Faber makes it 4-2. About 10 minutes left here. Leafs need to get something going here, or the Minnesota Wild will be the Stanley Cup champions. 1 minute left. I think it's time we jump in and see what happens in this last minute of play. Alright, I'm cutting back to you guys because we have ourselves a game here. We had about a minute and a half left when I jumped in. The Leafs scored and have made it interesting here. There's about 30 seconds left on the clock. They need to get a goal. They need to pull the goalie and do something now. Alright, so the goalie is pulled and the Wild do steal. That could have been bad. Ekman Larson gets it back. Nylander here skates it up past the blue line. Passes over to Marner right in the slot. Huge save by Philip Gustafsson. Leafs get it back. Shot blocked. 8 seconds. The Leafs will have it at the blue line here. They need to take a shot. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. And the Minnesota Wild will hang on to become Stanley Cup champions. So congrats to the Minnesota Wild here in this simulation. Let's go take a look at some of the stats here today before we end the video. So looking at overall point leaders, Austin Matthews, 33 points, 25 games, good to lead the NHL over this playoff run. Looking at goals, Matthews also leads the way with 19, Draisaitl not too far behind, and Hyman also not too far behind him. Going over to goalies, Philip Gustafsson got it done for the Wild. Not the best numbers, 909, 3 goals against. Stolers, much better numbers there, 15, 7, and 3. 921 save and a 2.55 goals against. Anderson and Skinner there, good numbers. Hellebuck there in a very limited sample size put up excellent numbers for the Winnipeg Jets. But I think that is going to do it for today's video. Seeing what would happen, the Stanley Cup Playoffs started on New Year's Day. Once again, Happy New Year's everybody. That'll do it for this one. I'll see you all in the next video.